Hi again, fellow unlicensed thinkers. In the book 1984, Winston, who is the main character, he said it wasn't enough to simply say that 2 plus 2 equals 5. You had to get to the point where you believed it. You had to convince other people of it. It had to be what you thought was real. And it had to be what you believed. Like you really had to completely buy into the idea that that the state was telling you that this thing was true. No matter how much your heart tells you, no matter how much your soul tells you to not believe it, you must believe. But there's always, like even with Winston, there's always this part of us that tells us when we are out of alignment. There's this little voice that says that's not right. There's the body language, the facial expressions. They all tell us when something isn't correct. And they're trying to, there's other signs too. I'm sorry, I'll get to that in a second. But without this alignment, without this believing what I truly believe in my heart, what I truly see with my own eyes. So I can, in the case of 2 plus 2 equals 5, I can take two items and I can put them together and say, that makes 4. So that's alignment. That feels right. To take 2 items here and 2 items here and put them together and say that makes 5, it doesn't feel right. So no matter how much I'm told, or no matter how much I will say on a conscious level or am forced to believe that they equal 5, they will never equal 5. I will always have this dissonance within me. And dissonance, it has a really negative effect on us psychologically. So if you're not aligned with what your heart says, your soul says, what you can see, feel, touch, what you know to be true, if you're not aligned with that properly, then you're going to feel a lot of anger and a lot of sadness. Because when your brain can't put together these two ideas and it can't make them make sense and be in alignment, then it expresses itself in some other ways, such as anger and sadness or depression. And so each time you feel anger or sadness or something like that, what you really want to do is, that is your opportunity to dig in and to make a discovery about yourself, to look into the other side of things that you would generally believe and say, okay, if I feel anger around this subject, or when I have talked about this, I feel some kind of a depression, I should look into it more. I shouldn't assume that I feel depression for the reason that I think, because otherwise it wouldn't really depress me that much. You get a different emotional relationship with things that you're in alignment with. And so look for opportunities to align things with your heart and with your soul and what you know to be true. And understand that this is going to be a process, because number one, it's going to make you say, oh my God, I've been tricked. I've been misled. I've been living with the wrong information. I've been telling people the wrong information, whatever it might be. So on a personal level, you have that. But then you also have a more cultural and societal level where you have to then start saying, well, now I have to admit this to other people. And what if these other people, what if they don't like me after I've made this change, had this revelation? What if now they say, oh, well, we can't hang out with you because you no longer believe the right things? Well, that's something that you have to accept. You have to decide what is more important to you. Being in alignment with yourself, being happy, allowing yourself to not have this anger and depression, or being friends with people who are not aligned with you. That's really for you to decide. I mean, it seems when you put it out that way, it usually says, oh yeah, well, that's kind of obvious, right? But is it? I mean, with the pressures that we have from society and whatnot, that can actually be pretty difficult. So you think about the kind of people who want to control you. And so we'll go back to the book 1984. And that was a very authoritarian regime that Winston lived in. They controlled everything. They watched everything. Kind of starts to sound familiar after a while. I highly recommend it if you have not read 1984 or you have not read 1984 in a long time. Read it. Oh my God, terrifying. But terrifying in that way that allows you to see through some of the BS that we're being fed nowadays by whoever is feeding it to us. And so some things that have happened, and you can go and look this up. It's all out there to find. In places where they have had real life authoritarian regimes, and I'm going to use a couple semi-recent examples because they are pretty good examples of Russia, China, and Germany. And the reason that these are really important is because they forced people to believe things that these people did not truly believe in their hearts. They forced them to publicly say things that they didn't believe. Like these people are bad, or this government is great, or this exalted leader, or whatever it might be. They were forced to say these things out loud. And I'll get back to that as far as what exactly that does. But take a look at the different kinds of, and you can usually see this more when you look at something that is outside of your group, because it's just easier to spot that way. But then remember that your group is probably doing it too. So who wants you to say things that aren't true, or believe things that aren't true, that believe things that go against what you know, what you can see, what you can touch? Well, who is that? That's like your gaslighters and your abusers and people who want to like oppress or intimidate you. These are people that want you to be outside of what you truly believe. They want you to believe this certain agenda. And like I said, authoritarian regimes, they do this, but governments in general have a way of doing that. Religions will actually do that. So will cults. Excuse me, very fine line there, I know. Some religions are great, some religions not so much. Same with cults. Anyone who is an ideologue in whatever it is that they believe, a lot of times they will need you to believe and say and repeat things that you just know aren't true. And so do you allow yourself to do that? Gangs will do this and terrorists will do this. Some of the worst people out there, some of the people who seem like your friends are doing exactly this. And so look into it. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself recognize your own body language. Let yourself understand, I feel different. I took on a really strange pose when I did that. I was fidgeting a lot when I said that, or when they said that to me. And it just didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel right. Maybe I felt like I could feel anger on my face or something like that. Notice when you're feeling that, because that is when you are stepping out of your alignment. And when you step out of your alignment, you're allowing someone else, some ideology, to take control of you, to tell you what to do. And that feels absolutely horrible. Anyone who wants you to, in the end or at some point, commit some kind of horrible atrocities against other people. Again, I go back to Russia, China, and Germany in recent history because they have done exactly this. They wanted one group to commit atrocities against another group. So they told them, well, you have to say these people are bad. You have to say publicly, you have to believe it. And so they did. And so they did believe it. They did believe that these people were horrible, but not really. Not in their soul, they didn't. They believed it. They believed it on this conscious level, but not in their heart. Their heart never believed it. But that conscious level, that fear level, was enough to get people to commit the absolute worst atrocities against one another. And that's what we need to look out for. That's what they will do to us. That's what they will try to get us to do to one another. And so This is actually really important with the saying it out loud. And you have to say these things. You have to repeat these things. There is a very famous video from the BLM and Antifa stuff that was going on this summer, where there was a lady having coffee or lunch or whatever she was doing, and a group came up to her and demanded that she put her fist up and comply with them and do what they were doing. And she refused to do it. She agreed with them. She was on their side, but she did not agree with their methods. And that is probably the most honorable thing. That woman gets the biggest props from me, because she agreed with those people that were coming up to her and trying to intimidate her into doing something that she knew was wrong. She knew in her heart it was wrong. She may have believed with whatever their goal was, but what she believed was wrong was forcing other people into this sort of compliance. And so this lady is an absolute freaking hero, because she agreed with them, but she also told them when they were wrong. And to me, 100% honorable. And so what happens a lot of times in these authoritarian regimes, whether they be a government or whether they be an organization of any kind, is they make you say that you agree with whatever their thing is. And so let's say you disagree with it, because that's really what we're talking about here. But they make you say it. And so then others hear you say it, and they start to think, well, that must be true. If they're saying it, well, I respect that person. He, she, whatever, they look like a good person. So if they're saying this thing, then maybe I should consider, maybe it is true. Maybe it is important that I believe that. And then you say it. And then there's another person saying it. So then you have more people that go, well, I don't really believe that, but if they're saying it and they're saying it, then, that must be true. So what you want to do is you want to look at, what do you really believe? What does your soul tell you? What does your body language tell you? What does the feelings that you have tell you about it? And if those aren't aligned, then you're absolutely doing the wrong thing, because you don't want to start getting into this feedback loop. You don't want to become part of this feedback loop where now you're saying this thing and others are believing you. And so you're out of alignment. You're saying something that's not in alignment with what you believe, but yet you are following this feedback loop, and you're convincing other people to believe this thing that you don't even truly believe in your heart. And we do all of this out of fear, because, we don't want to get kicked out of the tribe and whatnot. So I think it's important to remember that we don't live in these little tribes anymore. We live in a society where you can think some crazy stuff. There's some weird shit out there. And you will find people who also believe that crazy shit or that sane shit. You will find people that are also aligned, that are aligned with themselves, who believe the same thing that you believe. So you can align with yourself without fear. You can align with what your true feelings are, your true beliefs are. And you will find a lot of people out there who agree with you, who want to be friends with you, who want to be a tribe with you. You don't have to go against your beliefs in order to feel safe. There are 7.5 billion people in this world. There's a whole lot of them out there that think very similar to you on whatever that topic may be. So allow yourself to find them. Allow them to find you. If you're pretending to be somebody else, they can't find you. You can't find them. They don't want to have anything to do with you if you're pretending to be somebody else. You guys just can't find each other. The only way you can really find a tribe and really be truly safe and feel really comfortable in your tribe is to be yourself, to be aligned with what you truly believe, not what the TV tells you, not what your religion tells you, not what this group from college tells you, not what the popular sentiment of the society is, the zeitgeist, not what that tells you, but what you honestly believe. That's what you want to go for. And so that's the biggest thing, is start looking at how you feel, how your body feels, how aligned you are. Are you making weird expressions with your face? Get used to paying attention to that. Get used to paying attention to what your body's doing. Are you in a closed up pose? Are you in a big open pose? How do you feel? And when you have that alignment, then, and you understand how it feels to really be in alignment with something, you won't want it any other way. You will not even begin to accept the idea of something that is out of alignment, something that breaks with what your heart and your soul honestly feel, what you can see with your own eyes, what you can understand. You won't allow anything else into your life. And let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to hit like and share the video. And of course, have a great day.